To the WCL Fantasy Forecast, Week 3. This game is the Bears, coached by Chris Hunikin, Big Hunie, and Daniel Ivers, against the Cash Money Millionaires, owned by Brandon Cashwell and Gray Rogers. I almost forgot Gray's last name. Both teams are 0-2. The Bears are a 2-point favorite for this game, and I will be picking them as my winner. And based on a couple of things, number one, I really like the matchup with Eli Manning this week against the Redskins. He torched the Redskins last year for 7 touchdowns and 1 interception. And in the second game, he found Odell Beckham Jr. for 143 yards and 3 scores. And that's basically all the offense the Giants have. Right now, without Victor Cruz healthy, it's just Odell and Eli, and they can't run the ball, and the Redskins' run defense seems to be revamped, and they're not allowing people to run the ball, so it's all gonna be on Eli and Odell. And he looked pretty good last week. He was 27-40 for 292, and I think it should continue to some extent this week. I'm not expecting a giant game, but I'm not expecting a horrible game like he had week 1 either. I also like Isaiah Crowell against the Oakland Raiders. Oakland has given up 3 rushing touchdowns this year, and Crowell gets all the goal line work, so looks like a pretty decent matchup for him. I don't really know what to make of Frank Gore. The Colts either don't or can't run, and it may be both, that they just choose not to, and when they try to, they can't. And he's pretty old, and he looked old last week, fumbling the ball with no contact on the goal line. So I'm pretty much off Frank Gore at this point. But against the Titans and the weak AFC South that the Colts play, I guess it's possible he could have a decent day. The Bears also have one of the top 3 wide receivers in the league, Antonio Brown. He's basically matchup proof because the Steelers look for ways to get him the ball. He's going to get the ball. Ben looks to him. And with Le'Veon Bell back this week, he should free up some, maybe. It should free up the field for him. They also have Jarvis Landry, who is a PPR machine so far. Buffalo allowed Edelman to catch 11 balls last week on 19 targets. Jarvis Landry is the same type of guy. He may be a little bit better than Edelman. Maybe not. And he also returns punts, so there's always added value there. Steve Smith broke free last game for 10 and 150. He is in a decent matchup against Cincinnati, and it always seems that Steve Smith gets up for these division games, whether it be against Pittsburgh or Cincinnati or Cleveland in his short time with the Ravens. They're also starting Pierre Garçon, who should see a majority of the targets for the Redskins, at least while Deshaun Jackson's out. Him and Jordan Reed are pretty much the only 2 guys they throw to. The Giants, although the Redskins may not try to run, they may not try to throw as much as you would hope for when you have one of their receivers, they may not be able to continue running to the tune of 180 per game. So Pierre's definitely in line for some targets. On the other side, for the Cash Money Millionaires, they've decided to sit Sam Bradford in lieu of Phillip Rivers this week. And Phillip's got a pretty decent matchup against the Vikings. Same type of defense he saw last week. And through the first 2 weeks of the year, he's 81% completion percentage and averaging 9.4 yards per attempt. Which is good for second in the league, I believe. Just behind Ben. Well, not just behind him. Ben's at like 11. And Cash Money Millionaires finally get back Le'Veon Bell after his 2-week suspension. He falls right into a great matchup against St. Louis, who just allowed the Redskins to run wild for 185 last week. So he's my number 1 running back of the week, and they get him back just in time for a great matchup. I hate Lamar Miller this week. Just absolutely despise Lamar Miller. His ankle's bothering him. The Bills aren't going to let them run. I don't even know if they can run. And then just like Frank Gore, I don't know if they want to run. It never seems like they give him the ball enough. always hear about, but Lamar Miller averages 5 yards a carry, but they don't ever give him the ball, so I really don't know what to make of it, and I just don't like him this week. I mean, if he proves me wrong, he proves me wrong, but I just don't like it. T.Y. Hilton against the Titans. The Colts were in a similar situation last year, 0-2, going to a AFC South opponent on the road. The AFC South's terrible. The teams other than the Colts anyway, they're going to have a big day throwing. Expect T.Y. to find the end zone probably at least once, maybe more. Devontae Adams versus the Chiefs. Aaron Rodgers is amazing at home. He never throws interceptions. The Chiefs are terrible against the pass so far this year. If Devontae Adams can't find the end zone in this one, he may not find it this year. They also have the Cash Money Millionaires also has my favorite defense this week, the Seahawks defense. And they're up against Jimmy Clausen in Seattle. It's going to get ugly. The only question is, are the Seahawks going to turn turnovers into scores, or are they just going to totally dominate the Bears and only get like 10 or 15 points because they get a bunch of sacks and the Bears don't score anything? If they can turn some of the turnovers into touchdowns, then Cash Money Millionaires can definitely win the game. And another reason for that would be David Johnson for the Cardinals against the 49ers. The 49ers let D'Angelo Williams score 3 touchdowns last week. And David Johnson seems to have a knack for finding the end zone. He's returned a kickoff for a touchdown. He's had a 60-yard reception for a touchdown. He's had a rushing touchdown. He should probably be starting over Chris Johnson at this point. And if not starting, he should get a majority of the touches. If he gets enough work, I could definitely see big things from him this week against the 49ers. But with the unsure amount of work he's going to get and with the other matchups that the Bears have, I am picking them -2. In the fourth part of the series, I'll be looking at the Trailer Park Boys and Rumham.